Welcome to another episode of The Inner Estate with Bridget Stuart. And I'm so excited today. My guest is Kara McCord from beautiful Albuquerque, New Mexico. Kara, I want to thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I am too. So, Albuquerque, and you are selling real estate in the Albuquerque metropolitan area. And how long have you been in real estate?
This October completes my 10 years in real estate, so that's exciting.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
It's
Starting on
very
year
exciting.
11. Yeah. Before that, I was in property management for 16 years, so I managed large apartment communities. So
Which is
lots of
really it's really a tangential segment of also real estate. So you've been really in the world of real estate for going on 26 years. And I've been full-time in for 27, so we actually are very neck and neck in terms of being in the overall industry. So, Kara, one of the things I was really excited for you and I to talk about today is you shared with me that one of your most compelling and powerful influences in building your business and your success has been the law of what you focus on expands.
hmm
Could you share with our listeners, like, what does that mean to you?
Well, I think, it's one of those things in my life that has just been recurring. You'll have a plan and you'll be excited about something and so okay, this is my new goal. And you work on that for a while. And then life happens and you find yourself in a place where maybe you're stuck. You're like, wait a minute, this isn't tracking right, And so it's one of those things that I feel like in my life in different circles, it just keeps coming back to me like, I need to refocus. Well, maybe I got in this place because I wasn't focusing on my intent, intentionally. I was letting it kind of haphazardly happen. So when I bring this back around in different parts of my life, it really helps me just shoot to the next area that I'm going on. So it really helps me achieve my goals, plan my next goals, and really stay focused. I think, it's one of those things that it keeps me on track because oftentimes humans, as we are in families and, we get off track all the time.
Right. I mean, especially in society today.
Yeah.
We are bombarded by so many bits of information. We have access to so many platforms. People can reach us in so many different ways. It's almost a continual bombardment of distraction, and it can make it difficult to prioritize what's urgent, what's a priority, what is interesting, but not compelling. Like it makes it harder. It makes it harder to make choices.
Absolutely. Absolutely it does. Yeah, so
What
it's
do
been one of those things that I recognize when I'm maybe not where I thought I was going to be. It makes
Mhm.
me remember that I am in control, and I mean, it's as simple as that. I am in control, but what I focus on is where I'm going, right? And so oftentimes we get sidetracked and so it's really been one of those pivotal things that helps me stay where I'm supposed to be, help me stay on course, get to where I'm going.
Can you think back to an example of when you really utilize that? Like you said, sometimes you find just you're plateaued or you're not where you thought you would be, or something is not happening in the manner you wanted, and you decided, like, that's it, I'm going to focus on X, and you allowed that to help you move out of where you were stuck.
Yeah, I mean, I've used it in both personal and work stuff. I think
Mm-hmm.
one of my biggest successes is I've done a lot of self work on myself over the years. When I started real estate, I was a larger woman,
Mm-hmm.
and so over the course of really feeding myself and getting into a healthier lifestyle, I really made that my focus. And as I worked more on myself, my business grew. It was just like the more
Mm-hmm.
positivity, the more healthy I got, the more healthy my business got. And
That's
so
right.
that was the biggest part. And sometimes in growing your business, you got to slow down before you can speed up. And
Right.
sometimes you feel like you're not getting anywhere, but just to kind of reset and really go over your goals again, realize, okay, I am in a place, look at the progress versus perfection, because I'm one of those people, I want it to be perfect every
Yes,
time.
yes.
And sometimes I'll get stuck there because I'm focusing on perfection and not giving myself the credit for the progress that I'm making, right? And
Mm,
focusing on the little things, how it gets you incrementally to those big goals and those big guidelines.
right. It's funny you mentioned that, and you talked about, like, Folks, you started caring for yourself. I am so glad that you brought up that example. So often I think that not just in our industry, but any sales position or leadership position or even a management position, HR, when you are someone that others will rely on, attorneys, anyone where you have clients or people working for you and you're a leader, that can become what you're looking at through your windshield, right? And you're like, "Oh, I have to take care of all of that." And sometimes when people are not moving forward, they automatically think, well, let me fix this one thing at work. You know what? I'm going to accomplish X in 30 days in work. But what's really happening is their physical self is completely worn out, worn down. You're not focusing on it. And what you said of you actually focused on yourself and you made what you focus on your health and well-being. And then, as you said, as you got healthier, your business got healthier. And I didn't know you were going to share that. And it's so true. So anyone who may be listening, I'll even, if it's okay, I'll share one of my recent focus goals. I realized that after years of having a very routine and set process for going to bed, I'd gotten very lackadaisical about it, had lost some of the ritual of it, and was going to bed later. And I get up at 4:30, so I can't be going to bed later, right?
No.
So I was like, up. And so then I started thinking like, how is this impacting me? And so I made an immediate focus goal. I said for the next 30 days, I set an alarm on my phone. So most people set an alarm to wake up. I set an alarm to go to bed, right?
I have
And
a bedtime one too.
and I made it for 9:30. And so it is. And then I noticed, I'm getting my podcast recordings done. I'm getting caught up with, some odds and ends. So you're right. As that got back into a routine, everything benefited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's funny because it really, for me anyways, it really is the fastest way for me to see positive growth in my business is when I make sure that I'm living intentionally, for myself.
Yes.
And it's crazy how that works. But man, if I go back and really look and think about it, I'm like, oh, actually, every time I did this and really focused on my health and wellness and, making sure I was taking self-care time and getting my mindset right, I was able to then focus on the things that I needed to do, felt better, didn't feel as overwhelmed, and was able to really focus on then what I wanted to do with work.
Right.
And then that income generating activity, it just brings more, it's just all about.
Yes, it does. Yeah. When I think about what you just shared, you and I both gave examples of a very positive outcome. We focused on something positive, and when we did that, we had benefits that rippled out in all areas of life because it really does impact all areas. One of the things about this law, because it is a law, what you focus on expands. Notice it didn't say it's all positive,
No.
right? So I don't know if you're comfortable to share or not. But have you had a time where subconsciously you found yourself focusing on something negative and guess what it brought? More negative that expanded. Have you ever had that occur in your life? And what did you do to address it?
I've had it occur a couple different times. I mean, I think that's why this law, it just reminds you, you think, I mean, financial freedom is one of those. And I say financial freedom, not becoming debt free, because I
Right.
focused on at one time initially becoming debt free. And
Yes.
my debt got to a level where at one point in time I was $70,000 in debt and credit card debt. And credit card and different things, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, I think I had taken bold once or twice at that point in time. And I was like, I can do this better. And I got to change the language. I got to change the
Right.
language that I'm using. And so even when you're writing your affirmations and you're talking about your goals, making sure that you're writing them in a positive way and not using negative words or phrases, watch out for double negatives. I'm not going to do something, and so
Right. Right.
and so financially, I changed that. I want to be debt free. I want to be debt free. All I was focusing on is the wanting to be debt free. And all I got was more wanting to be debt free. Right. until I changed it, and I changed that into financial freedom, right? And
Yes.
money constantly flows into my life, right? And so you change those things. I just got goosebumps. You
I know,
change
I
the
did too.
word, and then all of a sudden the vibrations start changing, and you're focusing on the freedom, you're focusing on financial abundance, and then all of a sudden it's just happening without you really even realizing, that it's happening. It starts
That's
compounding on
right.
itself.
It
And
does.
I don't know if there was any kind of scientific measurement that positivity, the positive words versus the negative words respond faster than one another. I don't know, but I can tell you that it feels so much better, and everything is based on energy. And so when you're feeling
That's right.
better, even writing down those things of, financial freedom, thinking about abundance, acting like you're living in that moment now, that I have the financial abundance and the financial freedom right now, then you just feel more positive in general, and so you're creating more of that for yourself. And so I was able to, I don't remember the time frame because this 8 years ago or so, but I do remember when I paid off my last credit card. I remember when I paid off the first one, I was like, I'm going to put this in a freezer in a container of water so I can never get out to it.
Right,
um,
right.
but I
Because
remember when
water
when
doesn't melt.
I know. But I had paid the last one off, and for years I, had my house payment and I had my car payment, and everything else I was able to pay in cash, and I didn't even need to use my credit anymore. And so that felt so good.
Right.
And I'm like, it seemed at the moment, like it was, once I got there, I was like, wow, that really wasn't as hard as I felt like it had been the last 5 years I was trying to do that. So all you need is a brief moment to reset yourself and to really know that you're in control, and like
Yes.
own that and live in that feeling, and remind yourself every day that you are creating your reality by the thoughts that you think and the words that you're
And
using
the
and the
words you
focus,
use.
what you're focusing on. And it's that simple. It's not always easy because we get off track, and we
We
are
do. That's right.
human nature is those limiting beliefs that we're born with and that come down from generations before us, and that we allow into ourselves from outside sources. I mean, it's going to sideline you sometimes. So
That's
you
right.
have to remember in those moments that you're feeling that way, and take a deep breath, and then remind yourself, not even in your head, but out loud, like, I am in control. I have all the time I need. I use that one all the time too. I
That's
have all
right.
the time
Yes.
I need.
That's right.
Um, so yeah, it's really helpful. That was the biggest one for me. I was a single mom, and so credit card debt was scary, but it was there for me. So I'm super grateful for that. I think gratitude is also a really strong place to live. And when you focus on gratitude for the things that you have now,
Yes.
it also really helps that grow even faster. Because
It's
it's
so
easy
funny.
to feel woe is me.
So it is, you are right. And our logical mind, our logical conscious mind would say something like, well, you're just being realistic. Right now you have debt, so you have to take care of that first before you get no. But our subconscious, which really dictates everything we do, right? Our subconscious mind perceives words and concepts differently. So you are exactly right. Every time that you wrote down or said out loud, I want to be, it's hard for me to even say the word. I want to be debt free. Every time you actually said debt, it was reinforcing debt in your subconscious as part of who you were. Right. So,
And
and
that I'm
I'm not,
wanting it, that I want
yeah,
that.
that's right. That's
And I'm
right.
like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Yes. So just switching to financial freedom or financial security or confidence in financial resources, like all of that connotes strength, power, ability, right? And it is, which is, this is so funny because again, our logical mind, you and I are in a world where we're dealing with investing and leveraging money, and we understand that debt can actually be really powerful when you utilize it in the right way. But when you're working on something like this and you were that single mother and you were like, I am making this happen, I'm going to agree. You probably slowed your growth down slightly. However, figured it out, rebounded, and look where you are now. And it's
Mhm.
amazing. I will probably butcher the name of this book. You said, I don't know if there's science or anything to support this. There is. There is a book, and I will put the description in my description. I'll put the entire book and the author. It is called You Cannot Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought.
Ooh.
And it's a big book, and it's got the science, and it's got the data, and it goes into all of this at a very high level. And then you mentioned another thing, and I hope everyone heard this. You were writing it down. So you were writing your affirmations each day, or were you doing some of the financial
Yeah,
thermostat
I
exercises?
through my life I've been through a lot of, I mean, I think everyone has some kind of trauma and things they go through, right? But, when you're in those places where you just feel hopeless and you don't feel like there's anything you can do about it right now, the first place is to write it down.
Write it down. That's
Write
right.
down the things that you want, right? If you have a negative
Right.
thought about something, I have $80,000 in debt. Write something positive that's the opposite.
That's right.
And then you like force yourself to you have to teach yourself out of those fears, the things you fear, you worry about every day or that weigh on you. Write them in reverse, right? Write the the
I have 80,000 in savings.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm. I have all the money that I ever need when
Uh-huh.
I need it. Just things like that. Whatever, it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be silly or, however extreme you need it to be. But yes, when you're just like in those moments where you're like, oh, everything's awful and everything's falling apart, nothing's right. Stop and write down things you're grateful for. If you write down 5 things you're grateful for that you have right now that are real, your brain
Yes.
can't argue with you,
Correct.
right? I'm grateful for my dog. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for, whatever they are. But those
I'm
things right
grateful
there,
for coffee.
grateful for coffee. I'm grateful for ice. I love ice.
Yes.
But yeah, your brain can't argue with you. So if you just write down the things
Correct.
that you're grateful for first, then you can write down the things you worry about in a positive way, right? And just keep doing that until you start believing it. And that's
And
when you're like training to learn how to focus on things.
that's right. And it is so critical. There's a big difference between handwriting and keystrokes. It's a significant difference, also backed by science, in your the neural pathways in your brain and the way that your brain will retain the information and connect with it, especially at a subconscious level. And writing is huge. You and I are not in our early 20s, I'll put it that way. So I do worry sometimes because I feel like some of the younger generations, they've gotten away from handwriting. And there's actually some concern like, how is that connected to overall mental health, joy, baselines of happiness? So that's been something I've been doing a little research in that I'm not going to sideline our conversation on. However, writing is so critical to creating this focus that you want. So, not that I want to make this all about books, but it's so funny because what you and I are talking about, it's reminding me of some of my favorites. And they're a little bit lesser known, I believe. The other book I just want to mention is Write It Down, Make It Happen. And book. And again, author and details will be in the in the remarks. So, it's by Henriette Klessinger and it is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. So, with that, I wanted to give another example that's tied to a work goal. So sometimes, let's say you want more listings. This whole thing ties in. So if you're telling yourself every day, it's so funny. I've trained myself. It's
It's
hard for
hard
me
to
to
say
say
it,
them out
huh?
loud. It's hard to say.
I'll do it for
I
you. If
don't,
I need more listings, then all I'm going to get is the need for more listings.
yeah, correct. That's right. Or I don't have enough listings. Every time you say that out loud is reaffirming it in your mind that that's the reality. So it shows up. If you start making this a game, you can actually catch yourself in it through the day. Have you ever challenged yourself to do that? Like, okay, for the next week, I'm going to be on alert
Well,
for
I have, and
any.
I have. I mean, Keller Williams Bold does that for you. I'm a 7-time Bold graduate, if you will, but we don't use the word try. When you start
Correct.
to not say something that you've said a lot, it makes it real obvious how much you're affecting yourself, right?
Yes.
There's no try. I intend to focus on positive growth in my business.
Yes.
But yeah, it's
I
so interesting.
intend I intend to focus on launching 9 listings in the next 9 weeks, right?
Fantastic. Yeah. So
And
yeah, I
it's
will gamify it because I am in a transitional part of my business right now. And so I feel like there's so many things to do and so many things to focus on. Sometimes you feel like you're just spinning and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm in control. This is what's so great about doing this with you right now. It's such a perfect time in my business for me to
Mhm.
refocus on what I want, what my expectations are, not what I want, what I'm intending for my business.
Yes.
And so yeah, I mean, it's just constant. And so anytime, like I challenge anybody, anytime you feel like you're not where you want to be, just relook at what you're focusing on. What are the
Right.
words you're using? What are the thoughts you're having? If you're in a relationship with someone or a life partner, you live with someone else, even if it's children, and they say something and you say something in your head, listen to what that is, right? It's so
Yes.
powerful. It is going to give you the clues to how your self-talk is about yourself, and you'll recognize faster which direction your focus is if you listen to the things you're not saying out loud. I've
That's
learned
right.
that.
Yes.
And it's the fastest way to be like, hold on, I'm not I'm not in the place I want to be intentionally, right?
That's
You're
right.
kind of like tattling on yourself.
Yes, you are. That's right. You're tattling on yourself for all the good. That it's for a good outcome, you know?
It is for a good outcome. Every negative situation is an opportunity. Every negative comment someone says is an opportunity for you to help them see the positivity of it, or the growth opportunity, right?
That's right.
I was listening to something regarding, what you focus on expands and different people's takes on it and stuff the other day. And someone had said it was about conversations. And when you have those clients that are just negative, I mean, you can never make everyone
Yes.
happy all the time. But I love working with clients that are, curmudgeon-y people. They're just
Mhm.
grumpy. Everything's a problem. Lightning strikes every third Tuesday in their backyard. They're just kind of rain cloud people, like woe is me people, like Eeyores.
Yes. That's right.
But I feel like I just have this ability, I've learned this ability to be able to work with them, to be able to truly listen to what their needs are. And I mean, really feel like that's one of my strengths, that I can work with anybody. And the grumpier, the better. I mean, not that I want that all the time, but I can always get them to be pleased with the process, be pleased with the outcome, to be like, gosh, that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
That's
To
right.
have them start speaking positively about the transaction, where maybe they thought it was just going to be terrible the whole time. And I really don't want to go through all this. Those people that just, you're like, you know what? I understand. This is real challenging. It's a really big deal. It's a big part of your life. I'm here to walk you through this so that it feels effortless and seamless for
Yes.
you. And at the end of the
Yes.
transaction, when they really feel that way, I'm like, I win.
That's right. Yes.
And yeah, like we can do hard things, we can help
And
people with stressful
like, I'm
things.
not surprised to hear that at all because first, I know that your approach to business is very relationship based. And I know that, correct me anywhere where I'm wrong. I know that you want people to feel comfortable and good about themselves in your presence.
Hmm.
I never have a feeling that you are entering into a business relationship where you're like, I'm going to prove how smart I am to everyone in the room. You're going in there and you're seeing what they need, where they are. Are they an Eeyore? And then you are allowing them to be who they are. You don't attempt to change them, and then you help guide them through.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think there's so much. I mean, I love this business. I love helping people
I do
with their
too.
homes and their goals. And it is probably it is some of the biggest decisions and life changes that people go through. And
100%.
we deal with people that are not always it's not always exciting. I got a
It's not,
divorce, or my spouse passed away and I can't afford my home, or, my
right?
kids are no longer with me and I don't need all this space anymore. I just had one like that. And the whole situation was heartbreaking, and she's gone through a big stuff. But at the end of the day, she's like, I could have done this without you. And I appreciate this. And I let her have her hard moments, and breakdown things happened, and but this business is so about relationships. And so when you
It
focus
is.
on coming from contribution with people, and you focus on being of value,
Yes.
It's huge.
And I think one of the reasons you do so well with the curmudgeons is that in the Eeyores is you let them know it's okay that they're a curmudgeon and an Eeyore. You make them feel valued, smart, correct, right, and that they're not. And curmudgeons, that saying, people usually show up how they are wherever they go. So most curmudgeons are not used to someone sitting across from them and saying like, "Hey, curmudgeon, here's what we're going to do." Not that you would say that, you know what I mean? And making it okay that they're who they are.
Yeah, I think,
And that's a great skill of versatility.
yeah, one of the other books that books or authors or systems, I guess, for this, what you focus on expands is exactly what to say. And
Yes.
everyone knows that, but there's an exactly what to say for real estate. But what I
By
learned
Phil
about
Jones.
Phil Jones, what I learned
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
from Phil Jones is that it's not about, exactly what to say, sure, but it's about learning how to listen and learning how to
Absolutely.
say when you're speaking, to learn how to say something that means something, right?
Yes.
Don't just tell people some salesy thing and that, you come off with, you know, like that used car salesman guy, or that one that
Right.
really, that guy that comes to your door trying to sell vacuums or whatever, that really needs a sale,
Right.
We're here to
Hey,
help.
Kara, so what has to happen today where you're going to drive off in this car? Like, yeah, we're not doing that.
No, but it's like being of value, having something that's contributing, right? And I think, you know, for me, I think education is huge, and to always be learning based and keep learning. I mean, I've done this for, it feels like a million years and two different lifetimes, but I do feel pretty confident in my skills and really my ability to listen and understand what people mean and what they're saying, even when they're not really saying it, because that's the biggest part about real estate and making sure you're getting these, through these transactions when you're dealing with buyer side, seller side, and maybe they're not exactly wanting to give, and you've got to make sure that, we can get to the end together. We're all on the same team. And
Right.
I find myself helping other brokers on the other side sometimes, like learning how to communicate. Well, what you're saying is, so what I'm
Right.
hearing
Yes.
is, you know,
Yes.
but it is like, if we focus on coming from contribution and focus on really achieving the goal for our customers, it just is a better outcome,
If there's someone out there who stumbled upon you and I today and they're listening to this podcast, and let's say that they are in sales and they are feeling behind goal, overwhelmed, household loose end items, all that stuff, the never
Mhm.
ending blizzard of car registrations and dentist appointments.
Yeah.
And maybe they haven't been taking care of themselves. What would you recommend is how to figure out the starting point that would have the most impact for them to focus on today, where they could start to move the needle?
So I think the first place is acknowledging where you are, in those moments, because it's overwhelming. I've been there. I visit that place every now and then, you know, um, is to recognize that you're in that space, and like, I need a reset, And so for me, I always go into my backyard, I take my shoes off and I walk around in my grass.
Nice.
I visit my garden. It's a big thing that what I do. I take some deep breaths. I know my husband is a music guy. If he's having one of those things, he sits in a quiet place, he puts his headphones on, and he turns his favorite music on. The music
Me
that
too.
gives him the feeling that he wants to feel, right? Whether it's
Yes.
vacation vibes, whether it's relaxing stuff. He loves Enya, so, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but whatever that is, like, you have to physically take yourself out of that space and put yourself in something that allows you to breathe. So I think
Yes.
that's step number one, is to just, like, a hard reset, physically remove yourself, take you to where you need to be, that allows you to breathe and calm down.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing is I think you write down those 5 things that you're grateful for, that you have right now, that are real, so that
That's
your
right.
brain can't argue with you.
Right.
Then I think then you can look at what it is that you are intending to, or that you want to focus on, and then write down some goals. Write down some things that you want in your life. Write down where you want to be. right? I think those are the places you start. And then as you start feeling more comfortable, you know, you can write down things how you're going to do that or what else that looks like. Write down the feeling that you want to feel when you achieve those things. That was big for
Right.
me with my financial freedom. What am I going to feel like when I have like zero bills other than my house and my car? I mean, that's huge. That was huge for me to acknowledge the feeling that I want to feel inside, and then sit with that. And then just imagine that you have that now. I think that's super, super powerful. And it
I
always
think so
helps me
too.
to feel like I'm in control and remind yourself I'm in control. And then read the things that you wrote out loud, write them down,
Yes.
read them, and then speak them out loud. I think it's super powerful. That's how
I
I
think
do it.
so too. I think that's great advice. Then you can start by everything you just described. You start to get clarity of the biggest impact today would be
Mm-hmm.
get the car tags taken care of. Boom, then just get into action, right? And then it would give you that, I call it like a mental white space, like some negative space in your mind where you can actually think and you can say, I will have pride in the progress and I will identify 10 new leads in the next 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something measurable and action oriented. I often find if you do a short term goal and it's very specific, it quiets a lot of that mental noise because if you truly commit to it, it takes away all the decision making of what you're going to do. So,
Yeah,
like
for
using
sure.
that example, right? If you're like, I'm going to find, what did I say, 9 or 10? I
Mm-hmm.
will find 10 new leads in the next 2 weeks. Well, guess what? Then you're going to be, okay, let me find leads. Instead of thinking, oh, what should I work on today? Should I do some work on the website? Do I want to check out that blog? Like, there's too many decisions when
Yeah.
people are in overwhelm. Oh, should I knock out the dentist appointment? And then, no, like if you set a short term, I call it a full court press or 2 minute warning. You imagine you're in the Super Bowl, 2 minute warning. You better be scoring a point, right? So when you do that, I think that also is going to quiet some of that inner noise.
Yeah, the other thing just to build on that too, Bridget, is um sometimes often if I've got like a list of things to do or my list has a list of things to do and I'm like,
Yes,
oh,
yes,
and you're just stuck for a minute, I'll pick 3 really fast things to get done and cross them off my list.
yes, yes.
So then you're like, okay. And then before I go have lunch with myself, I'm going to do one more thing. Like just the
Hmm.
rule of one more is also really good. Like just one
It
more,
is.
just
That's
one
right.
more. 'Cause then you feel like, okay, well, I said I was going to do this. I did these things, and I'm going to do one more, and then I can go get up. I can go check my
That's right.
garden.
Right, right.
But yeah, because it can be daunting. I got to call 20 people today.
That's right. Just focus on the next one.
Call one. Call one.
That's right.
If you need to call somebody that you know is going to answer or that's not going to answer to make you call the next ones, you start there and then you keep going.
Well, this has been, I could talk about this for hours, and I so appreciate the insight that you've shared with us. I appreciate that you've been vulnerable and you shared real life examples of how this has shown up for you, not just as a real estate or a professional, woman, but also as a mother and a wife and a human, right? So like, thank you for sharing that. Going to a little bit of the great career that you're having. So you currently are the owner of a team and you're the rainmaker, the founder of a multi-million-dollar sales corporation that is your real estate team. And you're currently practicing your real estate out of Keller Williams, Albuquerque, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Yes. And that's Albuquerque metropolitan area. Tell everyone just so they get a sense for where you are.
Yeah,
Where do you cover?
we're Albuquerque Metro. I mean, if you've been or
Hmm.
known Albuquerque, there's a lot of little places all around there. It includes Rio Rancho. We're pretty much Santa Fe down to Socorro, which is south, and then I also work all the East Mountains and everything too. So our team's got a good network of people up there, and we just love it. I mean, we're licensed in all of New Mexico, but really the Albuquerque Metro kind of branches out to the northwestern section of Albuquerque or
Hmm.
of New Mexico.
It's a beautiful state.
It's
I've done
gorgeous.
extensive RV trips. So, I mean, it might be the second most beautiful state.
I'm a transplant. I'm from California and Oregon, but I've been here since 99 and I just love it. You cannot beat the weather. It's not humid.
Well,
We
I
don't have
know.
big.
Well, I love Arizona, so I give Arizona number one. I
All
think
right.
we have such an amazing, diverse, our deserts, our the Grand Canyon, White Mountains, Flagstaff, right? So I'm a little bit biased,
Well, we're
but
both
all
high
joking
desert.
aside, yeah. Yeah, all joking aside, the New Mexico and Arizona, I think it surprises people when they finally venture out here and they see how diverse the geography is and how
Yeah.
beautiful it is. So we live in, I think both of us are lucky to live where we live. So I want to thank you again for being a guest. I always like to ask all of my guests, do you have any final thoughts that if someone's listening to us this long, what would you like to share in terms of what you focus on expands? Any final thoughts on that?
I just remind yourself that you are in control and what you focus on, positive or negative, is where you're going. So
That's right. Yes.
listen to your self-talk. Listen to how you feel inside yourself in the moments, we'll tell you what you're focusing on for sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being my guest, and I
Thank
look forward to
you.
speaking with you again.
Sounds good, Bridget. Take care.